So Typesense. I don't know if anybody's heard about Typesense. They're an open source search engine. When Jason has talked to me about it, it's an open source alternative to Algolia, if you've ever used Algolia, or an easier to use alternative to Elasticsearch. I first got introduced to Jason at the Evil Martians DevTools lunch at RailsConf this past summer. Just happened to sit across from him, had a really great conversation with this guy. And then we invited him on Indie Rails. My friend Jess, who's here, he and I co-host the Indie Rails podcast, and got to hear his whole story about how he's bootstrapped this product with his co-founder. So Jason is a really nice guy. Really loved hearing his story. It's a great episode if you're interested. I love supporting people that are Rubyists. He is one. He used to work for, what is it called, Dollar Shave Club? Yeah. Thanks. And they're a rail shop. And he's been bootstrapping. I love bootstrappers. And it's maybe one of the few products out there that is an open source product that has made it to like billboards and bus wraps and SF. So pretty awesome stuff. From a product standpoint, some of the things I love about this is it is an open source, truly open source product. Not just open core, they went fully open source. And a clear business model, which is hosting, basically. So if you can use it, run it yourself, but if you want, they have a cloud offering. So really clear, as a developer, that's really nice for me to know, okay, there's a clear business model here that makes sense long term. Their docs are great, simple to set up, and tons of the features you'd expect out of a search engine. Typo tolerance, tunable ranking, dynamic sorting, synonyms, even geo search. It's pretty great. So when Jason reached out to me to say, hey, be interested in sponsoring the conference, he's like, normally have somebody share something about Typesense or build something with Typesense and show people how to use it. And so that got me kind of thinking, okay, what could I do? And he gave me some options, and Typesense has a lot of really cool features. So some of the common things would be faceted browsing for e-commerce, or type-ahead spell checker, or GeoSearch for airports, or a hybrid search for keyword and semantic together, address auto-completing, image search, natural language search. This is a newer feature of theirs. And I could have done those, but when I was thinking about search, the thing that's driving me crazy lately is, why isn't there a good way to search my Claude code sessions? This is driving me batty. And there is a Claude resume, -- resume, and all it does is gives you the summary. You search the summaries, but you're not searching conversations. So I decided to write ClaudeSense, and this is a Ruby project, and I'm already getting ready. So just in case I get a cease and desist or something, I've got some other options. If I need to pivot really quickly on names, ClaudeSense, ClueSense, nuisance, nonsense. I think I'm good as long as I get to keep the sense in. I think it's gonna be all right. So then I'm thinking well, how do I build a CLI search tool? I wanted some kind of CLI search tool that searches across all my sessions. I'm an independent developer, so I'm working on a lot of different code bases. And now that I'm using work trees, since Claude Code Sessions are tied to the directory, then you go to the directory that the root of your Git repo is in. You're not finding all the sessions for that project. So how do I do that? Well, it turns out there are roughly 6 things that you need to build a CLI search tool. You need documents, a search engine, a document parser, a document indexer, a search interface, and some kind of result formatter. Can you guess which one's the hardest part? I was kind of surprised by this. I'll save that for later. Okay, so the first thing is we need some docs, some documents to work with. And of course, all of us have heard of Claude. And I don't know if you've ever peeked into .claude, but this is kind of what it looks like. There's a bunch of folders in there, but the main one is this projects folder. And under that, it has folders for every place that you've started a Claude Code session. There's a directory. The folder name matches the directory name that you open the Claude Code session in. And then there's a session, a UUID for each session. and it's a JSON-L file, and I didn't actually know what JSON-L was. It's actually just like each line is a JSON object. Yeah. So this is kind of what it looks like. Pretty nasty. I'm not expecting you to read that. What I actually need to get out of this is two things. I need to get the JSON objects that are type user, that have a message, and that's the things I'm typing in, talking to Claude. And then I want Claude's response back to me, which is a role assistant. That's kind of interesting, that part. Type message, and then the contents is inside of an array. By the way, quick sidebar, if you have not run into this, Claude Code throws away your sessions after, I think, 30 days. So if you are expecting all of your session history to remain, it does not. This is like the most bizarre default setting I can imagine. So if you want to fix this, Simon Willison's blog pointed this out to me. You change cleanup period days to 99,999, and hopefully you're good until then. Yeah. So you got documents. All right, that's done. What's next? All right, we need a search engine. So how do we install Typesense? That's it. Brew install Typesense, brew services start, and you're ready. So now we've got Typesense up. That was hard. Document parser, that's the next thing we need. We need to parse each line of that JSON session file. So we're just gonna use Ruby's json.parse, and then we'll check, by the way, for this quick presentation, I'm not diving into exact code, but I will show the repo at the end, so you can look at it. We'll check if each line has a user or assistant message, and then we'll return a hash of normalized data that looks like this. We actually don't need very much, because mainly what I care about is, what have I said to Claude, what has Claude said back? That's the stuff I'm going to be searching for. So really not very many things here. We're going to keep that role. We got a session ID that comes from the file. We also got the file mtime. That's coming from the file as well. CWD, it's tracking that at each JSON object level. It's storing like what the current working directory is, and then I've got a timestamp for that as well. Okay, so now we got the parser. Now we need an indexer. What's an indexer? Well, we need to be able to send all of this. We need to be able to parse those and put all of that into our search engine, and do that on a regular basis, since we're always having new conversations with Claude. So we need to load each of those JSON files under that Claude projects using dir glob. Check if the file has changed since our last indexing. I'm just doing this with file mtime, which is the modified time on the file. That's what Ruby can do to check the modified time. And then I'm gonna, any Claude sessions that have had updates since our last indexing, we'll just clear that document and re-import. And this is the command, the at client there is the Typesense client. Typesense has a first-party Ruby client. It's pretty nice. And working with it is very easy. So you have a collection. You define a collection when you start. This project is just called Typesense. So that's the collection name. And then you can hit documents.import. And then I've got a batch of documents I'm upserting into that collection. So we got an indexer. You're going to take that and just probably put it in a cron job so you can index on a regular basis. And now we need a search interface. So what's the search interface? Well, I need some way to accept a query and some optional filters or parameters or something like that, and then search a Typesense collection. So this is basically what that looks like. I'll skip the parts about like what I'm accepting from the CLI tool. But mainly, it boils down to, we're going to do documents.search. We're going to pass in keyword query. Typesense has the ability to do semantic search as well as keyword. I tried both, and they have a hybrid model where you can use both together. In this case, I found better results using keyword search, which is very basic and vanilla. Like the semantic actually sounds more interesting, where it has built-in like models that will do vector embeddings for your text. But for this case, it actually, like, keyword search actually performed better. It was easier to figure out the sorting and stuff like that. Maybe not better, but like I didn't notice a measurable improvement using the hybrid. So It probably depends on your data that you're capturing, the corpus of text that you're working with. So then I'm using query by the content. That's the content from that normalized data we got back. I'm going to page it. I probably don't need more than 100 results back. And then I'm using the sort by. Comes from from Typesense. It gives you the text match, which is like their built-in thing. When it returns, like it's gonna sort by the matches it finds first, and then by timestamp after that as a winner. I'm gonna group by session because with my CLI tool, I don't want to capture just the particular line in the JSON-L file. I would just want to know the session. Like, where did I talk about some kind of validation? Like I was doing unique by validates uniqueness or something like that. Where did I say that? And I just need the session that was in, and then I can scroll back through. Because up till now, there's no way within Cloud Code to jump to a spot in the conversation, which is super annoying. But you can at least resume once you know that. So we want to return sessions, and you can group. So you can group those results. So we're going to group by the session with a limit of 3, and then I'm using this filter as a way that I can say, like, okay, just use these particular, do it for this particular project. And that comes from the current working directory. All right, so we've got search interface, result formatter. If you were guessing result formatter was the most complicated part of the project, you were right. Holy cow. This part of this project I'm not necessarily happy about, but it works. By comparison, working with Typesense was the easy part, which is hopefully a testament, to a good search engine. So we need to be able to output that result summary somehow and output each session with an excerpt of messages with the highlighted matches. And for this, I'll just zoom into one little part, which is Typesense obviously gives you back the highlighted text matches with the mark command, or the mark tag. So I just do a G sub to get like a nice yellow in my CLI, and then reset after that. And now we got a result formatter. And in the end, we have only 3 commands that we're working with Typesense. We got a way to import documents, we got a way to search them, and a way to delete them if I need to, for some reason, purge out the ones that I've got. And that's the interface that I end up working with to build a CLI search for Cloud Code sessions. So this is at my repos, Jeremy Smith Co. at CloudSense. You're welcome to look at that. I've already been using it. Quite a bit. Like I didn't, I was like, this really bugs me. So I'm like building it, and then I kept like finding like, oh yeah, I need to like go use the tool I just made. Like, because I keep losing things. So it's worked pretty well. But I'm surprised. Like I was thinking, like when I started this project, surely surely Anthropic will come out with something before I even give this like presentation. They haven't. So that's kind of nice, I guess, in some ways. But I would expect at some point we'll get that. But it was fun to play with. I was going to do a quick demo. I wonder if I can do that. Can I do it with? Oh, it's coming over. Is it? Yes. Okay. So what we got here? I'll show you with, I got to bump this up. Maybe? Bigger. Make it bigger. Make the logo bigger. I can do like a reindex real quick on all my sessions. All right, so there's running through, indexing pretty fast. I was surprised there weren't more sessions, but I guess by the time I discovered the 30-day cutoff or whatever, who knows how many sessions I've lost. So that was a full reindex there. And then I can search for, I can do search Blue Ridge Ruby schedule and just target my blueridgeruby.com project and get back these results. And so we've got the different matches. We've got the sessions to resume. Then I can do, I wonder if I have it in my history here. Oh yeah, I can do a resume like this. One of the other things that's super annoying is with Cloud Code, you have to be in the directory to resume it. Super annoying, right? So this has to do another search to that collection to look up the session ID, then cd into the directory, and then resume. So that's what it does. There, okay. So now we're in that project. So this is really fun, and just wanted to say, if my thing comes back over. Yeah, thank you to Typesense, and we really appreciate them so much. All right, thanks.